We really are taking the angle of, we haven't really been going direct to cultivators. It's more, who are the people that cultivators already have good relationships with, that they trust and things like that. And we found that labs are a big one. It's described as like a nano bed of nails that impales microbes.
Most microbes are negatively charged. So it's like these little spikes, and as it's falling, it's attracted. It's nuking them.
They get spiked.
The lacrosse industry, the agency, or whatever that next journey is, like, you're sold out and you're all in. There's no opportunity for failure. Appreciative of those people that, gave us the green light.
Absolutely. They built a nano nail bed that kills microbes on contact and keeps working for 90 days. I'm Jason Raposa. After 25 years in tech and cannabis, I host High Functioning to show what actually works. Today's guests are Dustin and Ryan Dohm, serial entrepreneurs and co-founders of Grow Defender. They moved from agency life into product innovation with a surface sanitizer that doesn't just clean, it protects. The coating bonds to walls, floors, benches, and filters and keeps working between changeovers. We talk about the tech behind the product, how it fits into grow ops, and I challenge them to reconsider cannabis. We also get into what FDA approval really takes and what markets actually make more sense. This is Real Strategy Over Hype. Let's dive in.
I am Dustin Dohm, and I am a co-founder of Grow Defender.
And I'm Ryan Dohm, also co-founder of Grow Defender. And at the beginning of this year, we launched our first product into the cannabis space. It's our antimicrobial product. So it's a 90-day effective solution that cultivators can apply in their facility on benches, floors, walls, HVAC filters, run through their water system. And ultimately what it's doing is providing a residual cleaning solution for their facility. So big difference with it between your standard disinfectant type product is they're a one-time kill. You apply it as soon as it dries. If there's contaminated microbials in the air and they land on that surface is now recontaminated. What our product does is it creates a covalent bond on the surface and continues to kill microbials for 90 days.
Dude, covalent bonds, that's where it's at.
That's it.
Yeah. Real quick, so this is the stuff. So you got a bunch, if your whole room was full of mold, you just spray it and it's good to go, right?
I wish. No. So this is kind of in addition to an existing cleaning and sanitization process that a facility would have. So this typically used at like room changeover. So when they're harvesting the flowering room, before they bring in the next set of plants, they do a deep clean. And, they're...
So wait a second. So like in a changeover, so that means plants have already been harvested, or not harvested, but they've already gone to maybe cure.
Correct.
They go into grind.
Yeah.
And now they get a whole new one, whether they're, doing cloning or whatever, and then now it's starting to go into veg ultimately, right?
Yeah.
So in between that place where you're basically, the whole room has to be kind of sanitized.
Exactly.
Yeah, clean up the debris, things of that nature.
Yeah.
And then
there's a bunch of like trim on the leaves. Maybe
exactly. Sweep it up,
spray everything down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a typical process there at the end of a run is, they harvest the bud, they pull out all the plants, and then they vacuum all the, loose material that fell. They sanitize the surfaces, and it's kind of a deep clean process. And then they bring in the next set for a 60-day or so run.
Yeah, and this is where we're going to get into the covalent bond side, because it's like, why is this product why does it exist?
That's a great question. So our particular formulation has been around for almost 20 years. This is something that's being used in other industries like transportation, anywhere that, a residual sanitization process.
To like subway cars and people driving on all the time. It's like
amusement parks. Yeah, all kinds of.
In healthcare.
So the active ingredients are basically, they sprayed onto those surfaces. So for the next 90 days or so, it kind of
theoretically.
Yeah. Atomizing buses, fogging a bus, kids are in the bus.
Oh, they can. It's in like you can
fog it. Yeah, there's a company that's making custom foggers that they'll,
What's the active ingredient?
So it's an ammonium chloride.
Okay.
Is the active ingredient. A much more specific version of that, but it's probably 35 letters long.
Totally.
It's the chemistry word for it, but in general, it's an ammonium chloride is the active.
And so on that side of the fence then, so like you're spraying this, or you could even fog it, I guess there's some companies that are fogging. So you're spraying it on your surfaces. It's almost kind of like, because, in food side or the food safety side of things, we're constantly wiping down, everything. Could it even be used in food safety in that sense?
Yeah, we actually just got our food contact certification about 6 months ago.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, which
so
is a
food
big
contact,
Yeah.
that's super interesting because when I was doing a little business with my son, who's 15 now, I think it was like 13 or 14, we kicked off the whole freeze-dried Skittles kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
There was huge back in the day. It's, now you can see it in like Walgreens and CVS has them and stuff like that. And I asked my son, I was like, you should just go and ask them if they'll take your product in. But to get, like through the Board of Health, we had to get like our little, home kitchen certified through like the cottage laws of Massachusetts. And I remember I was like, I've got these wipes here. You just wipe it down. And they're like, that's not food contact safe.
Right.
So you just got that certification, which means that you could spray it on our stainless steel tables
100%.
in our production facility right now.
100%.
Do you wipe it afterwards? So it just stays.
After you apply it, it's you like mist it on with an atomizer or it's fogged onto surfaces.
Or spray mist. Or spray
Yeah,
a bottle.
spray mist
It's not a big, square footage of area.
But you let it mostly air dry. So it air dries in about 10 minutes. If there was excess solution in one area that didn't air dry, you can just wipe it up.
Yeah.
And so for approximately 90 days after that, it's kind of nothing, no microbial should be sticking to it ultimately. You just, they exist in the air.
Yeah, they're everywhere. And ultimately it's effective, through the EPA, we got approved for 90 days. The microbial load, a heavy microbial load area that might impact that to some degree. But what's important to know about the product is it's actually mechanically killing microbes. It's not chemically killing them.
There's like little knives that stab it.
Yeah, so the way it's described,
that's ammonia or something like that. Or
it's like it's described as like a nano bed of nails. That impales microbes.
Oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
It's a positive nitrogen molecule, and most microbes are negatively charged. So it's like these little spikes, and as it's falling, it's just
attracted.
It's nuking them.
They get spiked.
Yeah.
They get.
It would be great if we had a camera at that level. That's be like,
nano
happening.
You see a little microbe.
Yeah.
So it can't be applied everywhere, but this looks like almost super user friendly in a sense for like even home growers.
Yeah, so this is actually a product that we're about to launch. We're finishing up. This is a hand sanitizer that has our active ingredient in it.
So it's a foaming antibacterial foam. So it's not alcohol based, right? Alcohol, same thing before, is a disinfectant. It's cleaning once. You touch that next surface, you're done.
It's on.
So this is something that's going to residually stay with you, and it's soft, and it's 99% water, so it's safe for kids. So moms just eat it up because it's it's not that sticky or tacky feel. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's quite a word for the active ingredient.
Yeah.
So, but that's the active ingredient in all your formulations then.
So the active ingredient on this is actually a little different than our antimicrobial product. It's an inactive ingredient in a hand sanitizer, just based off of the OTC monograph with the FDA that we're going through.
The what? The TC what?
So we're launching it through the FDA monograph program, which is like there's a set of safe ingredients and things that
we know grass.
Grass,
right?
It's true.
Well, we do know grass.
Well,
we know generally recognized as safe. Right. So that's like there's not really like a stance they've taken. It's kind of just like it's generally recognized as a safe kind of molecule.
Yeah. So the FDA monograph program is a set of products that are essentially generally recognized as safe that people can, create their own brands around. They have to go through a process to do all of that.
There's a different process than just be like, hey, I'm going to add, lion's mane to my, drinks or something like that. That's like lion's mane is grass.
Yes.
But this is like an extra level.
Yeah, this you get in like an NDC, National Drug Code for hand sanitizer.
NDC, is that what you're going to say?
Yeah.
I've seen that term before.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a different process, but it's overseen by the FDA. Our antimicrobial that we're using in grow facilities is regulated by the EPA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, EPA makes a lot of sense because the EPA means that like it could go into the watersheds and stuff like that. I don't know the waterways.
Yep.
Do know a little bit about the EPA. I know there's a little bit of turmoil going right there. Just signed some letter. I'm on my energy sustainability committee in my local town.
Okay.
And so we just signed a letter over to Mr. Levin. I can't remember the guy's name anymore. About like they're trying to remove basically some extra kind of thing that was found back in like 2009. And now they're like, hey, let's remove that. And then it's like, well, it's going to open up all these other issues. And so we're like, no, don't remove it.
Right.
But I digress. So literally happened last night. That's why it's like top of mind. So so since there's different kind of regulatory bodies, like I actually want to take a step back real quick. Is like, why did you guys even do this? Like why?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we also own an ad agency called Novo. So we've been in the branding and marketing game for years, right? And just always we're looking for things. It's a very transactional business. It beats you up over 20 years.
It does.
You know? But Ryan and I kind of connected on multiple projects. So if you kind of back up a couple of times before, he was the CEO of a med device company, and I was kind of their CMO. We did, global marketing, bringing a lubricating jelly back to market in the surgical business. And so we did some work together there. And then
that's where I got my regulatory background.
Yeah.
With FDA.
Did you get thrown into the fire and you're like, all right, I'll just figure it out kind of thing?
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely one of those. Yeah, for sure.
Because it's like nobody's like, I'm going to college. I can't wait to be working with the regular.
No, nobody does that.
Nobody does that.
No. So kind of from there, we also, we did some rebranding for a local cidery. So in the beverage business, they were big in our town. It was called Windridge Cider, and it's up kind of northeast distribution kind of thing. And
where's your town?
York, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Between Harrisburg and Baltimore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So their beer kind of struggled to get off the ground. So we came in and identified, like when you come in their road, it's like this winding path to get to the farm where they're brewing everything. And I came up, kind of interviewed all the locals and kind of did a bunch of market research and kind of got feedback and said, we need to split beer and cider into two separate categories. So long story short, the owner was raising some money to do a hemp initiative right around what year?
2019.
Yeah. 2019. Ryan.
Hemp was hot.
Hemp was hot.
Yeah.
So Ryan went to work.
It was saturated. Yeah. Got saturated quick.
Ryan went to work for him, and then they brought me in to do the branding, and that was kind of dipping our toes in the cannabis space. But then maybe within that next year or two, we got approached by a company that was the parent formulator with this product, and right when COVID was hitting, and they wanted to go direct to consumer.
Yeah.
And they weren't doing the sales they could have been doing in, during that time period. And, we were like, man, we might be able to do something with this in cannabis. So the kind of light bulb went up. I think I told you before, we're kind of problem solvers, being serial entrepreneurs and our background. But when Ryan and I saw the opportunity, we just thought of something intriguing, just kind of going on that entrepreneurial journey.
Are you guys just like co-founders? Like you're the only co-founders? Yeah. Or was there like, did that guy also back it like VC style, like or with some angel money or something?
Bootstrap.
Totally just you two
bootstrapped.
Yeah. You guys are hitting the road hard.
Hitting the road hard. 4 years. It's been 4 years. It's been a long journey though. It's like, there's this, when you're
building a brand is not cheap. No. It takes a long time.
And I did it in the lacrosse industry 25 years ago. And, when you go in an industry sometimes where everybody's trying to keep their marbles on the table, you get way more no's than you get yeses, right? We were like the skateboarding DJ kids coming into like the white collar.
Right. You're showing up to like a convention. Guys, I'm a businessman.
But we were forging, right? I was 20 and we were like hit that hockey stick of social media, and we had 30, 40,000 on YouTube at like 2008, 2009, 30,000 and Instagram, and like we were pushing, but just kind of using that as a parallel to where we're at now. It's just authenticity. Like when we go and are pushing this thing, it's like meeting people, building relationships, right? Letting the product data do the talking. Like, don't take our word for it, right? We're just problem solvers. Like, this is something we think is a major problem in the industry, regardless of what side of the fence you're on. And let's solve it and let's move the needle. And just the reception we've been getting, we went to CanMed, we went to MJ Unpacked, and we just had such a warm welcome. There was like no indicator going to market that like, you guys shouldn't be here, or this isn't a need. It was like, wait, you guys are onto something here, and let's explore more.
The cannabis industry is generally welcoming until it's like, cut through a competition. Yeah. So it's very welcoming in the early days, definitely. And so CanMed, where's that one?
Puerto Rico.
Okay, and then MJ Unpacked was St. Louis?
It was Atlantic City.
They city one.
They just had one in St. Louis a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we work with them on the side on various projects. So I was curious.
Great crew.
Great crew. Definitely. Shout out to Wendy.
That's it. Zed. Shout out.
Zed. Yeah. I definitely know that crew especially, but I never heard of CanMed. I think I remember something about it. So Puerto Rico.
It's put on by Medicinal Genomics.
Well, it's Puerto Rico's medicinal market. A medical.
The company Medicinal Genomics here in the States, it's their event. It was just held in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know because last time I went to Puerto Rico, I was like, medical dispensary. I'm like, here we are.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like you're starting this thing, you had mentioned social media. Are you leveraging those tools again, or are you kind of just like doing the boots in the ground style B2B stuff?
Yeah, I would say for this year, the primary initiative is boots on the ground. We're trying to build relationships and build trust.
Well, what did you start with? So if it was like, it's 4 years, you said, right?
Yeah.
So how did you start? You'd be like, all right, we're going to be dancing on TikTok.
No.
Spray it on your plants.
So we formally launched this year. So prior to this, we've been doing pilot studies, getting everything squared away with
and the regulatory side. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like testing.
So that was 3 years of your life.
It takes time.
That.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So anybody who thinks it's like, startups are always a hockey stick.
Yeah, exactly.
Spent 3 years in regulatory hell.
Yeah.
And then now you're like, okay, for the last year, you're boosting the ground doing things.
Yep. Yeah, and we really are taking the angle of not, we haven't really been going direct to cultivators. It's more, who are the people that cultivators already have good relationships with, that they trust and things like that. And we found that labs are a big one. So they rely on their labs to do all their testing for them. And the labs know how well they're performing from a microbial standpoint.
So you're not like, you don't want those people on LinkedIn be like, hey, you guys need some LED grow lights.
Yeah,
No.
That's not guys, because I hate that.
Yeah.
Although
I'm not even a grower. Like, why are you hitting me up with LED? It's like, know your audience on LinkedIn. It's like, I get hit up for the most random stuff, and I'm like, I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
Like, did you do any research on it?
And with AI now, I feel like it's
bots.
Everything's automated. You're getting hundreds of cold emails, DMs.
The cold
robots.
emails are out of control. Yeah. I hit spam so much nowadays. I'm like, just report a spam. And then there's automated flows, of course. So I'll get, 6 follow-ups after that. But again, it's for something like, sometimes it'll be like, hey, your beverages are really taking off in Massachusetts. And it's like, no, they're not. I'm not even in Massachusetts with drinks because it's not allowed here. Like, there's no research. It was kind of just like they looked at my LinkedIn profile, maybe a couple news articles. They slammed an email together. They automated the whole system. It's all automated at this point, which definitely there's a human touch that's missing. In one case, I actually did miss an email recently where I got an invite to an event it looked spammy, so I just skipped it, and then I got the reminder, not the reminder, but I got the follow up like 2-3 days later, be like, hey, I'm a real person, like I'm inviting you to this thing, because I feel like now that's getting lost.
Yeah,
right. The human touch. The AIs are getting so good at emulating the human side of it that it's like sometimes you can't see through it. So I'm just constantly skeptical of all that stuff. Email. But LinkedIn especially, I haven't accepted a request in like 6 months at this point.
I know, because I think I maybe sent you an invite like a year ago.
I don't even. Because if I accept it, I'm expecting to get hit with a bunch of spam. It's happened to me so many times, and I'm just like, I have like 700 in the queue right now that I'm just like, some of them look like real people.
Right.
Totally. And sometimes I'll go through and be like, oh, that's actually a store we're in. I should probably accept that one.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time accepting it because I'm just constantly bombarded with messages. And I think that goes for a lot of the world.
Yeah.
So how are you? So you're boots in the ground, which makes a ton of sense because that's the human connection ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there was a period of time where, people kind of didn't look at trade shows or conferences as, seeing a good ROI on those in the past because with the rise of digital marketing, everybody wants to see the analytics of what's the impressions, what's the conversion, and you can't really get that with trade shows. But now with AI, everyone's getting spam, nobody's opening anything. And so I think trade shows and conferences are really going to, come back and people are going to be more inclined to do those.
Yeah, they're going to want that face-to-face.
We still have the human advantage, right? Like that emotional connection, the eye contact, whether you still like to shake hands or not, like, that still means something, looking people in the eye. But
yeah, and just spending time with people, like outside of, sitting in a conference room or a meeting room. It's like going out to eat with them, going to the bar, happy hour with them.
I get invited to so many golf things, but I don't golf. It's just like, guys, can we play some pickup basketball or something? You know what I mean? Even though I'm trash at that too.
Yesterday we played for a couple gallons of antimicrobial for 18.
Nice.
They put some flour on the line.
Nice. Who won?
We won the front line. So
you got some flour out of it?
they won the back, and then 18, we were already down 4 holes, and on the back 9, we had to re-up and do something new for 18, and we won some flour on 18.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's like those human touches without a doubt. And just to go back 1 second to LinkedIn, if you did request like a connection on LinkedIn, I apologize if I've not accepted it. Like, email me, or like just be like, maybe the title should be like, I'm a real human, or something like that. So I can just know that you're not going to spam me. Like, the second message shouldn't be a sales pitch. That's all I'm saying.
Right. And if you got one for me, I'm just trying to push our initiative here in an authentic, genuine way.
So on the conference side, what's coming up right now for you guys? Like, are you hitting up, like, what's a big kind of conference that you're looking forward to?
So I think we're definitely going to walk MJ BizCon. We're not going to bend, but.
And that's November or December this year?
December.
Second, third, fourth.
Yeah.
I feel sometimes it's better just to walk the floor.
Yeah.
Like, you can spend $10,000 on a booth and get and you're like, way
You're stuck there.
You're stuck there.
And you're exactly, and you have to wait for that serendipitous moment where someone's walking by who also happens to have a cultivation or whatever. And it's like,
how many times have you had a booth and you're there and you see everybody walking down your aisle, but they're like talking to their homie.
Yeah.
And like, they don't ever look over and like, look at what you're doing. So it's like, unless you have that
tricks. We got tricks.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing that also, and I've mentioned this before in the pod, which is if you are working a booth, heads down on the phone, you're wasting a month. You're wasting
Taste
money.
this.
Yeah.
Taste this.
Exactly. You got to be out in front of the table. You got to be engaging with people directly and be like we were just at a trade show, and I was thinking of, and we were walking the floor this time, but I was thinking of every little excuse to be like, hey, dude, that's a nice message on your shirt. I like that. And then you're like, oh, what do you do? But of course, their badge says what they do. So like, I know.
Yeah, you know what you do.
I know what you do. But those kind of like moments where you're just like, okay, let's feel this out kind of relationship. Right. But I do know that walking the floor has been actually super beneficial for us in the past versus being stuck in a booth and kind of like just waiting for somebody to walk by, you know?
Yeah, I would say most of the good connections that we made at these last 2 shows, they have all told us just walk MJ BizCon, and it'll be worth it just walking it and sitting at the bar in the evening and, striking up relationships.
Well, people don't even go to the show. They go to Vegas, and they just go to the bars.
Right.
And then you find all the people you need to talk to are going to be out and doing things.
Yeah, the more we would loosen up and have a good time with people, the more, they just met who we are. It had nothing to do with the product, it had nothing to do with this. It was just like telling stories, right?
Yeah.
What did you do? How'd you grow up? Where you from?
Yeah. Well, it seems like you guys are pretty accomplished too, so it should be easy to have those conversations and be like, oh, these guys are legit.
Yeah.
It's
when the beard starts turning gray. People like see that.
If they see the gray.
They see the gray.
We just started. I should have trimmed it off already. I got some silver in my hair at this point, and
you wear it well. You wear it well.
Thanks. My kids don't let it down. They always are hitting me on that one. But so getting back to the product real quick, you also. So this is just the hand sanitizer version.
Yeah.
But you're talking about, so you sell it in bulk. You sell it in drums and gallons, like all that stuff?
Yeah, so 55-gallon drums all the way down to like a 32-ounce spray bottle.
And so who's buying a 55-gallon drum of this? Like, how do you price things, and who's the right cultivator in that sense, or who's the right
square footage, lights, usage potentially.
Yeah. I mean, there's there's value in buying in bulk from a pricing standpoint. But then the bigger facilities, 500 plus, 1,000 plus lights, and they're doing room changeovers every week. So they could use a 55-gallon drum across 6-9 months or so. It depends on the usage. So
yes, yeah.
Yeah. So
and how people are applying it is typically through like a wand or something like that.
An atomizer. Yeah.
How much revenue are you guys generating right now?
So we just launched at the beginning of this year. Our goal is by the end of this year to be working with about 20 customers.
Okay.
We're well on our way there, but it's tough. It's tough breaking into this market.
Yeah, 100%.
We did a lot of back work getting to this point to formally launch. But we're, we have a lot of really good conversations. We have people starting pilot studies. That's typically how we start with a facility. Is, hey, here's the product. Here's how it can integrate into your facility. Try it. Get the results back from your lab. See that, your microbial loads are down in the room because of this type of product. And then it's an easy conversion from there. and a ready-to-buy product.
Yeah, sometimes I worry about that stuff, though, because you leave it in their control.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, if you didn't apply it right, or you have some kind of weird microbial spike in that room versus the other room that the control is a different strain that isn't as microbial friendly.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of things that you don't really control in that case. Do you give them, like, here's a free gallon, like, go try it? Or do you have to...
So it depends on the situation and the bigger opportunity with that customer, but we have given product for them to try and use. But we've definitely ran into that issue of people getting our product and not using it properly and not getting the results that they should.
And now you're fighting that battle. I mean, like, like, what happened?
Right.
We talked to your guy who applied it or something like that.
Using the antimicrobial to try to get sticky gum off of trimmers. Like, it's not, it's not, we do have a cleaning product, right? We have an all-purpose cleaner as well that doesn't deactivate our antimicrobials. Some, you just got to be careful there what cleaner you're using and making sure that's like copacetic. But we've seen the stories where we're like, oh, this isn't working, we're good. And it's like a lab wasn't involved to do a control versus a treated room to see a parallel, what genetics were in this room, what did they do to really kind of get consistent with all the inputs.
Yeah, what is the big risk? Like, for these companies, like, why would they want to buy it? I mean, I hear about microbials all the time, but I'm like, just wipe it down and you're good to go. But you're saying obviously you have the barrier and the covalent bond to be able to make it last up to 90 days. But like, is it just because they can like pass tests ultimately? Like, I don't get it.
That's it. So every state, has a total use and mold count threshold. Most states is around 10,000 CFUs, when they culture that. And, they have to do that with all their finished good testing. So when they fail that, when they get a reading above 10,000, for example, in one of those states, they have to remediate it basically. And they can either do that. There's various ways to do it, but it's expensive. Irradiation can be $75 a pound to remediate it. And they're doing that so they can pass the total use and mold.
What's the $75 number come from? Is it from the machine? Is it from
so
hiring like a tolling company that'll just like do it for you?
Right. Whether you're sending it out or if you bought a machine, and some of those machines are $250K, right? You have to bring something like that in house.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have the square footage for it,
Most people are sending them out to somebody that'll do it for them.
So there's like one dude who has the machine, and it's like, Irish guy said it to him.
Yeah.
If you're into cannabis, entrepreneurship, or just like hearing from people who actually build things, check out High Functioning. It's real talk with founders, operators, and big thinkers. No fluff, just game. New episodes drop every Friday, and you can subscribe and listen at highfunctioning.show. All right, let's get back to the show. So obviously that's not something we recommend, because from everything that I've read about that, that's supposed to be just like the kill stop for like food safety and stuff like that. Yeah. That's not supposed to be part of your SOP.
Right.
That's not like, hey, let's grow all this weed and then let's just run it through it because we know there's probably something funky on there, and then we'll send it to the lab.
It's also killing their production schedules. That can add 4 weeks till they go through that process and that product goes out the door. Now everything's compounding. They're sitting on too much product, and it jacks up their whole cycle. So across the year, depending on the size of the grow, this can be, 6-figure issues, right?
So when it comes to like the irradiation though, is it like, I'm thinking like an MRI machine or something? Is it like or is it a gun that you zap it? Like,
it's a machine.
Yeah, it's a machine.
There's different types of irradiation.
Because you said it could delay things up to 4 weeks.
I'm just saying the product, if a product if it fails and they need to retest, and now,
testing, of course, is days and days sometimes. You can maybe sometimes get it back faster, but
But if they have to remediate, it could be maybe 4 weeks or longer until that product goes out the door. Now it's shifting their whole cycle. If someone runs a tight ship and they're only growing X amount, every 30, 90 days and going out the door, they want to get that stuff moving for cash flow.
Yeah, it's a cash flow problem.
Well, because when you said 4 weeks, it kind of triggered it. Is like, how long, and I mean, you probably maybe don't know the answer to this, but like, how long does it take to like irradiate flour?
Great question.
I'm not. Honestly, I don't know.
Because is it like, hey, it's like a microwave? You just like,
pieces ready.
Yeah, exactly. I know they can only do so much at once. So depending on how much you have to do,
and there might be a backlog behind that.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like government like 7 pounds was like the per.
It's not much that you can do at a time.
Oh, and that's always a huge limitation.
Yes,
right.
Yeah. So now you're like, it's cookie batches. These were that one's ready.
Have you ever walked into a facility and you were like, either A, they need us badly, or B, you're like, I don't think we can even solve this because it's so bad in here.
Yeah, so we've been in facilities where people have built out a grow area in a old warehouse, for example. And we just heard this story yesterday or the day before when we were in Rhode Island. There was a guy who did something like that, built out a facility in a warehouse. And this year in Rhode Island, they started requiring heavy metal testing as a part of the finished good testing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all of a sudden he started failing for mercury. And he's like, what is going on? Well, he did a little research into the building that he built this facility out, $1 million+ build out. And that facility,
some type of prevention facility,
mercury back in like the 80s. So it was everywhere. It was in the dust in the building. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy part is because people have probably been smoking that flour with mercury in it before they required that testing.
Potentially.
It could have. Yeah, absolutely. And so he basically, the lab told him, you're never going to pass heavy metal testing with your facility.
You can't fix that.
No,
heavy metal.
That's
not
heavy
you.
metal.
That's not us. That's not our game.
The commonality there is we've seen facilities built out in warehouses that are full of mold, and then basically the product in these built out rooms can't pass.
It can't pass
because there's too much mold.
It's just too much to overcome at that point.
Too much to overcome.
So what is your ideal customer then?
So ideal is a brand new build. Somebody that just built a new facility and wants to start off with our type of product to ensure mold never gets out of control. Because once it's out of control, it's obviously harder to get under control. So using our type of product in the very beginning will set them up for the highest level of success.
And we've heard this too. Most cultivators, they have so many inputs. It's like people within a facility are like pointing the finger. Oh, it's the water, or it's this, or it's this nutrients, or it's that, and everything. But everybody's trying to blame something.
Right, exactly.
And when they have, shareholders to answer to, it's like their ass is on the line.
Yeah, it's not
like,
pretty.
Where's this coming from, right? And let's shift the conversation from, remediation or whatever to prevention, right? I think that's where that's our MO.
HACCP is a term we use often in food safety, which is about prevention.
Yeah.
Right? You're actually just identifying all the control points, CP, the HACCP, and making sure you've done all the analysis to analyze the potential edge cases of where things could go wrong, kind of thing. That's the way I look at it. So it's a fully preventative thing. So maybe HACCP could be a thing that people implement in their facilities, which is just a list of kind of like SOPs almost in a sense, where it's just like, this is kind of like, this is our building. Our building is known for this, so let's control it.
Yeah, risk analysis.
And you were talking about facilities. Not only have we seen the gamut in facilities from, the facility we were in yesterday, probably one of the best we've ever seen, to other ones where it's just rain barrels and pumps and hoses. And we're like, but also the cultivator, every cultivator, like when we first started to get into this, like it was hard to go direct to cultivator. Like that's why we had such a long span on the front side, even though we had all the testing and we had all the documentation. I tell this story a lot with our one buddy. Our one buddy was a VP of Reebok Asia. And we had known each other from the lacrosse industry many moons ago, right? So after him and I partnered up about 5.5 years ago, and then we partnered up with Nate, our creative director, I went more into biz dev, which is kind of my sweet spot, right? Still considered in the seat and design cool stuff, but went more into biz dev, reconnected with him, and he's like, hey, my one buddy that was at Adidas, which is Adidas. He was like,
in the last podcast.
Yeah. So he was
the last guest on here was did a lot of the brand like marketing deals. She was with Reebok. Okay. And then she was getting interviewed by Adidas.
Nice.
And she was like, everybody spoke German. She was kind of like in the room. I was like,
okay, what's going on? So he's like, hey, my buddy went to grow a lab up in Rhode Island. I should connect you guys. So we connected. We sent up like a little 16-ounce bottle. And it was like right when some state regulations were kind of going through the process, they didn't want to run it through their equipment because they had ran something before that like uncalibrated it. And they were kind of all in on this app they were building called Powerleaf. And so anyhow, it sat on their shelf for like a year and a half. And we're like, just trying to get through find the side door to break in. And a lot of these cultivators just didn't want to hear it. They got their own system or they're already using X, Y, or Z. And it was just
they're set in their ways.
Set in their ways.
And I always go back to this. And it's kind of like an old kind of like not adage, but it's one of those old stereotypes where it's just like, I'm a master grower. I've been growing in my basement for 20 years. Or I came from the Triangle or Humboldt or something like that. And like, this is the way we do, this is what we do, you know, and they're set in their ways. And you try to introduce them to like, hey, you know, things have changed since you probably started.
Right.
So like, there's just another evolution in the process. If you want to get better, try this product. And they're kind of just like, but like, this is the way I do it, and no one's going to tell me what to do, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the cultivators, I think, would be a huge stumbling block.
And their ass is on the line in some cases. So they,
100%. Yeah.
the people that have a problem don't want to admit they have a problem, right? So that was the big
Unless they're also the owner, too.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
right. Yeah. So we were on a photo shoot, and we get a call, a ping, and we call her back, and she's like, hey, how do I buy this Grow Defender stuff? And we're like, well, tell us a little bit more about what you do. And she's like, I'm a field testing analyst. And then also that light bulb aha moment, our big break kind of happened. And she's like, so we're like, you know who has the problem? We're like, so tell us why you want more Grow Defender. And she's like, well, I saw your little sample sitting at the lab. And she's like, we're in Rhode Island. We're right on the water. She's like, my AC units are always filled with mold.
Yeah.
So she took it home, squirts her AC units, then calls us 6 months later and said, there's 0 mold on my AC units. Hey, how can I buy some? We're like, hey, we'll send you a gallon. You start hooking us up with people that could do some trials. And that was kind of our entryway there. The door opened.
Here's how I read that anecdote. A, how many people are actually putting together brand new facilities right now in cannabis? That is an existential kind of risk to business, because it's like, how many people are actually like ground up building something brand new? Because we're hearing so many companies being like, you know, Air Wellness just left, right? And they just abandoned all their manufacturing, cultivation, everything. They had this, you know, they laid off like 200 people in Milford, the town over, kind of thing, right? So there's just these stories of Massachusetts, of course, but there's other, I mean, California and Michigan. There's a bunch of states that are just like, nobody's like, if you look at the final licenses that are coming through on the agenda from the CCC, there's retailers, there's maybe a couple manufacturers, but there's 0 cultivators coming online right now, because that's where I think one of the existential risks to the businesses right now. But that anecdote, right, that reads to me as like, you should have D2C, you should have a spray available, and you should be able to sell it to people who are like, to moms, like you said, like, hey, I don't want my kids breathing all the mold off the AC.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
It can be used in so many different ways. We're from Grow Defender's standpoint, we're focusing on cannabis and just trying to solve
a foot wide and a mile deep.
Big problem.
A mile wide and a foot deep. And
100%. You have to focus. You have to focus. Yeah. We've gone over this a few times in the pod. You have to focus on one thing, get really, really good at that one thing. And then maybe only then you'd probably potentially diversify outside of it. But I'm just telling you about some of the headwinds that we see from the cannabis industry, being in the actual cannabis industry for 5 years.
Yeah, I would say, you know, the biggest opportunity is new states coming online, new programs. Yeah. You know, now from what we're hearing, I haven't actually seen this, but, you know, states like Missouri, you know, they're building remediation right into their SOPs.
Yeah, on the front. And it's like,
it's just, instead of like, hey, what can we do to prevent mold and microbials from the get-go, you know, how can we adjust our cleaning and sanitization process? Just, we're not going to worry about it. We're going to radiate it at the end.
They're going to blast it every time.
Which is climate, right? What we're hearing coming through the chatterbox in Florida, right? The CFU counts. And we're like, how is this not a no-brainer?
What's up with the CFU count? So I know it's yeast and mold, right? To yeast and mold. 10,000. Is that the right number?
Some are 100.
I know you guys aren't necessarily scientists on this, but I think Massachusetts is one of those states that has a super low.
Yeah.
So outdoor grows kind of always get knocked kind of thing.
That's a great question. And honestly, I think that kind of opens up the bigger problem that we have here is, you know, states, you know, chose certain numbers, right? A lot of them chose 10,000. Others chose 100,000, which is 10x, right? So I think that's part of the problem is people don't take total yeast and mold very seriously because they're like, it's just a number. It's a made up number, you know, whereas you look at other industries, because I came from, you know, FDA medical device space, like a non-sterile inhalable drug has a 10 CFU max from the standpoint of total yeast.
That's inhalable.
Inhalable. So,
which what you're doing with flowers,
exactly. So I think there's a big, the total yeast and mold count expectation, there's a big gap in the industry of just understanding why it is where it is. And there's not really enough studies that have been done to say it's at the right spot. You know,
do they irradiate or have these standards for tobacco?
That's a good question.
Just because I think of something else you inhale, right?
Yeah,
For if you have cigars, cigarettes, whatever, like I wonder what the standards are for those, and if they're comparable to, say, for instance,
that's a great
10,000 CFU versus 100,000 CFU.
Yeah, it's a great question.
I mean, what we've seen too is an average, just from all the last 3 years of talking to people, anywhere from 5 to 40% fail rate for total yeast and mold.
Yeah.
So, but then you have people that we've talked to that are some of the old school guys that are like, well, no one's ever died, so like, why are we even worried about this, right? And then you have the people that maybe on more like the lab side and regulatory side, they're like, no, this is an issue, right?
Yeah.
So he had a good point earlier just about, also then the rec versus medical, and how do we standardize this? Regardless of what side of your fence are on, you don't know how certain levels are. You might have somebody that's slightly immunocompromised on the medical side that. Yeah,
that matters a lot.
Right. But a guy that's been, using recreationally for 40 years and he feels fine, and he's like, well, what's the issue here? Right. So you can see both sides of the fence. And I think it's a great conversation to dive into.
It is. And in general, in the space, there was a paper published in 2023 that deep dove this whole thing. And their basic conclusion was, how do we fix this issue of these total yeast and mold count numbers and things like that, and medical versus rec? There's got to be some sort of difference, because if we're calling something medical grade, technically, if you're looking at it from a inhalable drug standpoint, it would need to be like 10 CFUs of mold. That's just got to meet that. So
I feel like there are some people out there who would claim stuff like, we grow the cleanest weed and stuff like that, and their practices, and maybe it is old school, but it works for them, kind of thing, and it actually does get low, CFUs.
Yeah.
But in many cases, I feel like a lot of people, because of the race to the bottom in a sense and the pressure compression, are just building in the irradiation right up front, like you said, because it's just like, we already know it's going to be a problem, so let's just kill it right from the beginning, because it's not good for business. If we fail, it'd have to retest and wait 4 weeks.
Yeah, and there's people who will say that, irradiating should be done on all the medical grade stuff, because you are nuking it, like you said, and it's destroying everything. But we don't understand, the things that come from that, the mycotoxins that could be,
which is heat resistant anyway. So it's like, what's left behind?
So there's
your lighting.
There's other studies that really should be done.
I think that's just lacking in general, and that's been lacking for such a long time, especially in cannabis, obviously because of federal prohibition. So that's where I always go to. It's just like, well, if we were able to study the plant really well, we potentially could be advancing it way faster, because we don't know a lot of these questions. Or we don't know the answers to a lot of these questions. And then those answers may spawn more questions, right? And so that's why the research part of this has to be done.
Yeah. And that kind of leads into, I think, a pretty good point of, why isn't there more research being done? And so in 2019, I joined a company called Groff North America. It started out as a hemp initiative. We were going to process hemp for cannabinoids and all those things.
CBD prices are kind of low right now.
That market's super saturated pretty quick. So we pivoted and went down the path of getting DEA registrations for growing federally legal cannabis, which we ended up getting.
Awesome. That's there's only a few people who have that. Right?
Yeah. So historically, before then, it was just the University of Mississippi.
Yeah, everybody calls it University of Mississippi.
Yeah. So, but I mean, so they went down that path, and at this point, I had actually left, but they grew a bunch of product for the DEA. But the issue eventually became, there's nobody who wants to buy it, to do research on it.
Exactly.
And why aren't they? Because nobody's funding it.
Right.
There's no money there.
If the DEA gets they buy the product and from the different various companies or whatever, or University of Mississippi, have they ever published any reports out of that?
Not that I've seen. I mean, the DEA isn't doing the actual research themselves.
Okay.
They're just, so when
they're like the transport company?
Well, yeah, they're the middleman. So if you grow for, DEA registered facility grows product, it has to go to the DEA first, and then it can go to the research institution.
Right. Only under their control.
Right.
But the research industry is getting funding cuts. It's like there's that legislative wall of what goes where. And I just read something the other week. It's just some of these people have had these certifications for 6 years, only 2, it's all in limbo. No one's doing what they could or should.
Grants are drying up and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's some of the things to allude to the thing I made earlier is I'm on the my energy and sustainability committee in my town. and we're constantly talking about like a lot of the grants. State grants are still there, but the federal grants are just gone. So like we don't know what's happening to a lot of these grants, and we were doing like stormwater cleanup and stuff like that. Anyways, back to your product though. Can people buy this online? Or like Grow Defender in general, not necessarily these hand sanitizers, but in addition to
so you can. So we launched e-commerce earlier this year. No, we're actually using Webflow.
Webflow?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So our agency, Novo, we build and almost all of our websites are done on
Webflow. Gotcha.
Transition from WordPress and
don't get me started.
I know.
Yeah. If it's a heavy e-com site, we'll do it on Shopify. But for Grow Defender, it's very simple products.
Yeah, exactly. Shopify loves their fees, so you can just those plugins add up real quick.
Yeah.
I used to run an agency in Brooklyn. So
nice, man. There you go. So we can speak the same.
I've been a program for over 20 years, probably 25 if I count them correctly.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been a minute, but so people can buy this. And what's the website? Just growdefender.com.
Yeah, growdefender.com.
Butchered that name. Let's try it again. Growdefender.com. Growdefender.com, you can actually find these products as well. The
sanitizer is not for sale yet. We have some samples that we're giving away. As soon as we finalize everything with the FDA, we'll be able to legally sell that.
Got it. And so if it's FDA approved, then you can actually sell it at that point.
Yeah.
So because I always feel like that's such an obtuse or opaque system, the FDA. It's just like, how do you even... If I wanted to get something FDA approved, what would I do?
That's a great question. So
hire somebody, probably.
You likely want to hire a consultant. But when I was in med device, the process to launch a new med device is called the 510K process, and it's very expensive to do. You have to do a ton of testing, depending on the type of sterile or non-sterile medical device that you're launching. But it's anywhere from 9 months to 2-3 years to get something approved that way.
It's because you have to do actual trials? Or...
Not necessarily trials, but you have to do a whole set of different cytotoxicity testing, biotoxicity, all depending on the type of product determines the type of testing you have to do.
So for this though, what did you have to do?
So this is through the OTC monograph program. So this is a formulation that's already recognized by the FDA as safe. And so it's a much more expedited program. It's really proving
they're almost calling it like a Me Too, right? It's
right, because it's already been approved previously. Exactly. So there's already precedent for it. So you didn't have to spray this on a bunch of mice and be
Somebody at some point did do that type of testing.
Right. Yeah, when it first came out and became through the FDA.
But we're just, it's really a label approval process.
Got it. Okay, so it's monograph, meaning that it's generally recognized as safe.
Exactly.
So therefore you're able to kind of just say Me Too. And now it's just the waiting game of getting the certificate at that point.
Yeah, exactly. That's where we're at.
But is there a website that you have to submit data information to?
Yeah, it's an FDA website it's a portal basically that you upload your label information, your product description, those types of things, and then it goes through a manual review. And
do they test the packaging at all?
So no, they're not testing the packaging. They're just reviewing the label. For us, for this type of program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think about spray bottles, because one of the things in cannabis is we always have to have a consistent dose.
Yeah.
Right. So if we say it's 5 milligrams on the bottle, if somebody was to come up with a spray, every spray has to be that 5 milligrams, right? So for us, it's how do you get those kind of certificates on our end even? Because when I think of that, it's okay, what's a serving here? Now, of course, you're not consuming it, right?
Yeah.
So that's a little bit different, of course.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the FDA process, is that a 9-month thing or
We're not sure how long it's going to take. We're about a month into it now.
Okay.
So everything we've heard, it's pretty quick for this particular program.
Right. OTC monogram.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But bringing new products to market through the FDA is a much longer process.
It's wild. So the FDA will actually review the label, and as long as I guess they assume it contains what it says on the label.
Yeah,
because I've heard some horror stories, not necessarily with obviously your product, but I've heard anecdotally, of course, some horror stories of there's a guy on Instagram right now that is a pharmacist, and he goes around and he'll take like the Raging Bull pill from the bodega. He'll rip it open and do tests
on it.
Yeah.
and then he'll find that actually it contains like Cialis and Viagra and all these other things that it's not actually what it's like, because it said like ashwagandha on the package. You know what I mean? So it's super effective, but it actually also contains a bunch of other things in it that it's not listed.
Yeah.
So how does the FDA even take a stance on something like that? They kind of just they can't test every package, obviously, but
Yeah, so we're technically we're just like a relabeler of this. We're not actually the manufacturer. So our contract manufacturer that's compounding and filling these has a whole different set of requirements they have to follow
for their specific facility.
Exactly.
That makes more sense, because I actually wanted to ask you about that and I totally forgot. How, so it's being manufactured in what state approximately?
North Carolina.
So it's in North Carolina. You go down there sometimes, you check out the facility. They're, I almost said chilling and filling. That's drinking. That's seltzer. They're manufacturing the product and to the standards that they're being required to also hit as well in 3-year contracts and stuff like that. So how, just really quickly on the selection process for contract manufacturing, did you know you wanted to work with these people? Are they the only people who have this type of product, or is there like 1,000 of them and you kind of just vetted them?
So our antimicrobial is actually a very unique process to produce it.
Right, because this one's different than your grow defender you see in a cultivation.
Exact. Yes. This is the hand sanitizer. The actual antimicrobial that we're applying in grow facilities, the process to manufacture that is very unique in how the ingredients are mixed and reacted together to create a water-stable formulation. So we have one primary vendor that does that.
Is there only one in the US kind of thing?
I'm sure there's other people that could figure it out. We only have one though.
Yeah. And just the quality of the water. And I mean, it's all stuff that's wrapped up in a patent formula, but it's...
Is it RO?
RO water?
Yeah.
Deionized water.
Deionized, okay.
Yeah.
I'm big into RO water now.
Yeah.
Watched a PFAS documentary and I'm like, oh... PFAS is everywhere. It's literally, when it rains PFAS on us. It's so bad. So those fluoride chemicals, those are literally in every drinking water. And so now it's there's certain limits. So you can go, if you haven't done this before, go to your town, check out the PFAS levels in your town. You can see the individual wells that are around you, if it's fed by well anyways, which is around here.
Yeah.
So there's a well right behind here and it has 17 parts per trillion in it of PFAS. So it's 17 parts per trillion, but it accumulates over time through consumption of water, basically. And so at some point, I think the limit was, based on this documentary anyways, it said once you get above 20 parts per billion accumulated in your body, that's when you start getting into just all this other stuff. So now I just drink RO water, unless it's coming in like a drink, and then that probably is not RO. Anyway, it's probably, just from their tap.
Yeah.
For all I know. No. Sorry, Spin.
So you got your PhD in water recently.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. The curiosity inspired me.
Deep dive, yeah. 3 weeks later.
Yeah, a 20-minute YouTube video turns into 3 weeks of research. And I'm like, all right, so I've already decided I'm going to do all these things now. My wife looks at me like, really?
Are you okay?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm not, but it's thanks for asking.
Exactly. I'm not okay, but I'll live.
Yeah.
Have you gone down the hydrogen water path?
No, I haven't, because water has hydrogen. So unless you're talking about heavy water.
Just hydrogenated water. Just hydrogen tablets that you can add to your
water. No, I haven't. So it has more hydrogen in it.
Yeah, it's supposed to, grab free radicals in your body and
man.
Help with all.
I want to free the free radicals.
That's it.
Trying to get all the free radicals.
Last night we freed some radicals, I think.
I bet. So very cool. Any last shout outs, any last little kind of nods? I already gave you a shout out to growdefender.com where you can buy the product. We can buy some of the products. Can you buy the 55-gallon drums if you wanted to?
You could.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We have to try a little sample here, because I actually think that our team could use something like this.
Yeah.
Would love to see the certificates, analysis, whatever you have for documentation. We'd love to get it just so we can kind of do it. But how would you describe it? It's a bed of nails?
Yeah, it's like a nano layer bed of nails that's bonded to the surface.
That's fantastic. Cool. We'll check out that stuff on our end. Any last shout outs or anything like that?
Yeah, I would say just shout out to Pure Vita Labs in Rhode Island for really helping us kind of bring the product to market and get us the testing and data that we needed to feel really confident about launching at the beginning of this year and just helping us get our foot in the door.
Yeah. I'd say shout out to some of our lab buddies, right? The guys that kind of took us under our wing in some of those first shows and, just made us feel welcome and just kind of giving us a foothold in that little scoop sometimes that you need to keep going and give you those little confidence cues to know that, when you're bootstrapping something, you're like, you never want to have, there's never a doubt as a born and bred entrepreneur, right? It doesn't matter if it was the lacrosse industry, the agency, or whatever that next journey is, like, you're sold out and you're all in. There is no opportunity for failure, but just appreciative of those people that, gave us the green light.
Absolutely. And I feel like that is my last business. I had 2 other business partners. There was 3 of us. And the way I just heard it recently, which is great, which actually works really well for like marriages too, because you guys are married in a sense, is that like when I had my worst days, the other person has like an okay day, so they're not feeling the worst day. And so as long as you both aren't having the worst day at the same time, you guys should be okay. Kind of thing.
And that's kind of why we partnered up, right? Like we're also blood. So it's
right.
Where I was weak, he was strong. And it's like, if you're looking for any partner or anybody, you're always trying to look someone that's better than you in what you're doing, in some aspect. Right. And the 5 core peers, but
I love that stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, shout out to the labs. I think they're super underappreciated in general because without labs, we'd be drinking a bunch of poison for all we know. You know what I mean? So like the labs get a huge shout on the show constantly because they're the ones who are pushing consumer safety above all. And I think without them, it just like, we wouldn't be able to trust anything at that point. And it's all about trust, right? You don't want to, as an entrepreneur, the last thing you want to do is put out a product that people can't trust. Right. So, all right, looking forward to trying it. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it.